Today we are honored beyond belief to have Marc Storace, the voice of Krokus, is with us today on the show. Marc, of course, needs no introduction. He's given us so much great music. The run of albums that he produced and put out with Krokus during the 80s was phenomenal. I mean, Metal Rendezvous, Hardware, One Vice at a Time, Headhunter. You all know the songs. If you're watching this show, you're very familiar with the Krokus catalog, and there was quite a streak there in the 80s. Marc has a new album out.
Yes.
Called Crossfire. It's his second album under the moniker Storace. The first album is called Live and Let Live. He's got a new one called Crossfire. It comes out November 22nd. And he's here today to tell us a little bit about that. And, of course, he was gracious enough to let us discuss Krokus and go back through time and all that good stuff. But the news of the moment is Crossfire under the name Storace. It's a great new album coming out November 22nd, produced by Tommy Henriksen, who is the guitar player, one of the guitar players in the Alice Cooper band.
And mixed by... I didn't catch the guy's name, but it's Mutt Lange's guy.
Yeah, he is an engineer that's worked closely with Mutt Lange. So, I mean,
you already know what the record sounds like.
That tells you all you need to know.
Instant classic. It's in the interview we did with Marc today. But think Highway to Hell and High and Dry, and it just sounds. It's instant classic, and you already know what you're going to get. As soon as you hear the record, you're like, oh shit, I'm about to be, a lawnmower's coming at me and I'm the grass, and I'm going to gladly lay down right here in the dirt. So I got a thrill talking to Marc today because I'm a huge, obviously I'm a huge fan. Wicked singer. God.
Amazing singer.
Tonally, range, everything.
Amazing.
He's right up there with Rob Halford. It's ridiculous. And we even got to share a moment you and I had the other day when Playing the Outlaw came on my radio.
Yeah.
That is like one of the sickest vocal performances because ridiculous. He's in the stratosphere, and it's like, it just sounds, it's incredible. And so I'm super happy we got to talk to him about that and just sort of nerd out on the shit he can do with his voice and can still do. He's alluded that next week this episode will not be out yet, so it will have passed. That he's about to celebrate his 73rd birthday.
Yeah.
And I just want to say, we were going to see KK's Priest with special co-headliner Accept. Yeah. And Mark Tornillo just turned 70, and he is a monster heavy metal singer. And then when you hear about Marc Storace coming up on 73, it's like, wait a minute, what's wrong with the other guys their age that can't do it? What did they do wrong that, do they have health issues? They seem fine when they do interviews, but you hear them live, they can't cut the cake anymore. It's very interesting. So, food for thought, something to think about. I think that it might be state of mind. And also, I don't know how big I am with karma, but that could play in. I don't know. I'm just reaching because there's these dudes that are grandpa heavy metal singers killing it, destroying it. They're microphone murderers, and I love them. I love them all. To be over 70 and to be able to just fucking kill it,
still doing it.
It's unbelievable, and I could talk about that for an hour.
Yeah, I put Marc in that elite class of raspy-throated singers. You go all the way back to Steve Marriott or Dan McCafferty from Nazareth, Brian Johnson. Yep. Those guys that have that grit and that power. And Marc, I mean, the first time I heard Long Stick Goes Boom, I was like, oh my God, this is insane. And then I got the record One Vice at a Time, and that whole album And the song you alluded to earlier, Playing the Outlaw, is on that record. And that whole record is just full of crazy, gritty vocals. It's like you never thought a vocalist with that much gravel and grit in his throat could get that high. You were either high and clean or you were low and growly, but you very rarely could you be both. And Marc was both and still is.
Well, so, it also, Krokus goes back to the 70s. You know, they've been doing this forever. And when you write I'll just, for lack of terminology, a dirty rock and roll song, a blues based, mid-tempo rock and roll song that, you could throw it in all kinds of different hard rock boxes these days, which I don't play the game of that. But the band is creating this swagger, this kind of swagger and this nasty groove that is infectious only for, in my world, only for the singer to do what they're going to do, that the band knows they're going to do on top of it. Now I'm talking about Krokus. We're talking about Marc Storace. If those guys are writing a song in a garage somewhere and Marc's not there, they already know what he's going to do on it. That's the point. They're writing a tune for they're creating a vehicle for his voice to ride inside of and create something for fans that are going to get this emotional rush out of it and want to see it live and want to buy the record. His new record is no different with the writings of Tommy Henriksen from Alice Cooper Group. Didn't know he lived in Switzerland. Had no idea.
Yeah.
So I can see them working together and writing songs together. And what I've heard so far of the record is fantastic. So I wish Marc luck on that. And hopefully he can get stateside and the old school can bow.
Yeah. If you're a fan of Krokus and Marc's voice, Crossfire is for you. It's definitely got all the hallmarks of everything you want from Marc Storace. And we were so honored to have him on the show today. Such a huge part of my record collection and such a huge part of my youth. And knowing that we were going to have him on the show today, I kind of went down a Krokus rabbit hole the past few days. And I do that once in a while anyway. But it's because you and I heard Playing the Outlaw a week ago. That sent me down the rabbit hole. And man, what a great rabbit hole. I mean, oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
So many great songs, Bedside Radio, Burning Bones, Screaming in the Night, Eat the Rich. The list goes on and on. So, yeah, we were kids in a candy store today. So honored and happy to have him on the show. Marc Storace today on the Talk Louder podcast.